Welcome to the dark side of greatness. Welcome to the shadows where kings are made and monsters are born. You've entered a space where fear isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. Where pain isn't something to avoid, it's the raw material from which power is forged. You feel that chill running down your spine. That's the recognition of something primal. That's your true self standing up for the first time. You see, this isn't for the faint-hearted. This is for the ones who've been silent for too long, for the ones who've been doubted, pushed aside, laughed at, and now they're starting to whisper your name with fear. Because you keep winning. You didn't beg for it. You bled for it. You didn't wait for your turn. You took it. And now it's starting to scare them. Before we go deeper, I want you to take a second and do something powerful. Subscribe if you're ready to claim what they said you'd never touch. Hit that like button if you've ever felt underestimated, ignored, or discarded, and yet you're still here, still grinding, still rising. Because this right here, this isn't entertainment. This is fuel. This is soul fire. This is a war cry for the ones they forgot, the ones they buried under doubt, the ones who looked like nothing, but turned into everything. Every click, every share, every word is a shout in the void that says, you messed with the wrong one. This message isn't just for you. It's for the ones who are coming after you too. So light it up. Let's go all the way in. They didn't expect you to last. You weren't part of the blueprint. You weren't supposed to be the one walking away with the prize. And yet, here you are. You took their no and turned it into fuel. You took their laughter and made it your soundtrack. While they were busy calculating your limits, you were busy breaking them. You didn't just play the game. You changed it. You warped it. You forced it to bend under your will. That's what terrifies them. Because deep down, they know they're not built like you. They know they'd crack under the pressure that forged you, that they'd drown in the silence you've had to endure. They know your wins aren't accidents, they're omens. Every victory is a prophecy being fulfilled. And now they're watching, stunned, panicked, and scrambling to understand how you're still standing. They whisper behind your back now. They talk in circles, trying to make sense of it. They call it luck. They call it a phase. They call it coincidence. Because the truth is too heavy for them to hold. The truth is, you earned every single step forward, and they can't stomach that reality. Because if you're real, if your rise is real, then everything they believed about what was possible gets shattered. That's why they fear you. Not because of what you've done, but because of what you might do next. You've become a walking reminder of what's possible when pain doesn't kill you, but transforms you. They see the storm in your eyes now. They feel it. They smell it. And they know you're not done yet. You've changed the room just by entering it. You've disrupted their comfort just by breathing. People like you were never supposed to be this loud, this confident, this undeniable. And that's why they flinch when you speak. That's why they shrink when you show up. Because you've become a mirror. And when they look at you, they don't just see your wins. They see everything they ran from. They see the dreams they gave up on, the risks they were too scared to take. They see your fire and realize their flame died a long time ago. You didn't just beat the odds, you rewrote the equation. And in doing so, you turned their certainty into chaos. They're scared of how far you'll go. They're scared because they've seen this before, in stories, in legends, in warnings. The quiet one, the underestimated one, the one who took every hit and still got up. That's you. You're the myth made real. The nightmare they prayed would never wake up. And now you're moving through this world with purpose, and they can't keep up. They won't keep up. You're not one of them. You never were. You were built in the dark. You were raised by rejection. You were fed by failure. And now you're devouring everything that once tried to destroy you. And while they question your success, you're not even looking at them. You're too focused, too locked in. You're building legacies. You're turning moments into monuments. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. Because when you've been through hell and still come out swinging, the only thing that matters is impact. And you're making it every day. You're moving different. You're thinking different. And that's what drives them insane. You've cracked the code, and they know it. Every time you rise, it's a warning shot. Every step you take forward sends ripples into their comfort zones. You didn't come this far to blend in. You didn't climb this high just to be silent. You've tasted power, and it didn't corrupt you. It clarified you. And that's the final nail in their coffin. Because you're not just strong, you're focused. You're not just winning, you're awakening. The fire in you isn't just hot, it's holy. You didn't just survive, you evolved. And now your very presence threatens their carefully constructed illusions. They used to laugh when you spoke of dreams. Now, they stay silent, watching you make them real. They used to mock your ambition. Now they study your moves, hoping to imitate what they can't replicate. You've become the blueprint. You've become the force. And they know deep down that no matter what they try, they can't stop you. Because you weren't made to stop. You weren't made to fit. You were made to shift, to shatter, to shock. You were made to disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. You were made to bring light into the lies. And you're doing it loudly, unapologetically. There's something about you now, something untouchable. They can't figure it out. It's not in your looks, not in your voice. It's in your energy, in your silence, in the way you walk, in the way you don't flinch anymore. You've been through too much to fear anyone who hasn't walked your path. You've buried too many doubts to entertain theirs. You're not just chasing destiny. You've become it. You're not just winning. You're changing the definition of victory. And in doing so, you've become everything they told you to fear. This world wasn't built for the likes of you, and yet, here you are, taking up space they swore wasn't yours, holding ground they said you'd never touch, speaking truths they hoped you'd never find, and now they're scared, not because of what you've done, but because you've only just begun. This isn't your peak, it's your launch. You've barely scratched the surface. The real storm hasn't even started yet, and they know it. That's why they flinch when you speak. That's why they watch you with wide eyes and nervous hearts. Because every time you rise, you remind them you were never meant to lose. So go ahead, keep winning, keep rising. Keep walking into rooms with that quiet fire. Don't apologize for it. Don't shrink for them. Let them feel your presence. Let them fear your momentum. Because you're not just here to participate. You're here to dominate. You're not just part of the story. You are the story. And they can't stand it. Because they thought this game was rigged. They thought the system would hold. But then you came along and you rewrote all the rules. You're not lucky. You're relentless. You're not blessed by chance. You're chosen by fire. You didn't stumble into greatness. You built it, one scar at a time. And if they can't handle that, let them drown in their fear. Let them tremble at your name. Because you're the storm. You're the silence before it. And the aftermath after. You're the reason they double-check the locks. The reason they rehearse excuses. The reason they can't sleep. You keep winning, and it's starting to scare them. Good. Let it. Let your very existence be the warning they ignored. Let your power be the prophecy fulfilled. Because while they sit in circles, confused, afraid, trying to figure out how you keep doing it, you're already on to the next victory. One after another, like clockwork, like destiny, like a reckoning. So remember this: every time they whisper your name, every time they doubt your worth, every time they hope you fall, smile. Because the more you win, the more their world cracks, and eventually it'll break. And you'll still be standing, still rising, because you were never lucky, you were inevitable. Good. You're still here. That tells me something important. You're not just listening, you're awakening, and that's dangerous. Not for you, for them. Because now you see it clearly. You see the fear in their eyes when you walk in with your head held high. You see the way they shift, how they pause, how they suddenly have nothing to say. You've become the storm they always talked about but never believed was real. And now it's too late for them. They should have helped when you were quiet, should have supported you when you were unknown, because now that you've learned how to move in silence and strike loud, they can't touch you, they can't reach you, they can't stop you. You're untouchable, you're too far gone. And the truth is, they never really hated you. They hated the reminder that someone like you, someone who came from the dirt, from the dark, from the nothing, could rise this far. That you could keep winning when you were supposed to lose. That you could smile through betrayal, rise through chaos, and stand tall through every storm they swore would break you. You didn't just rise. You rose while carrying weights they couldn't even lift. You want to know why your winds shake them so deeply? Because they watched you fall and assumed that was your ending. But every time you fell, you got back up stronger, sharper, colder. You bled and kept going. You cried and kept working. You lost everything and didn't stop. And now they don't understand what you've become. You've become inevitable. And inevitable is terrifying. They built fences to contain you. You built wings to rise above them. They spoke poison. You drank it and spit out fire. This wasn't luck. This was transformation. They called it arrogance when you started believing in yourself. They called it selfish when you stopped sacrificing your peace for their comfort. They called it obsession when you worked in silence, grinding alone in rooms no one else wanted to enter. But now they call it a problem, because your results speak louder than their excuses, because your name echoes in places their efforts never reached. You don't have to raise your voice. Your presence is loud enough. They're scared now, scared that you know who you are, scared that you've learned to trust yourself, scared that you don't look to them for approval anymore, because when you stop asking for permission, you become unstoppable. When you stop waiting for someone to choose you, you start winning in ways they can't explain. And every win, every single one, is a mirror in front of their failure. They can't stand it, because deep down, they had the same chances, the same time, the same days. But they wasted theirs doubting, and you spent yours becoming. This is what it looks like when someone stops making excuses and starts owning their power. It's uncomfortable to watch, especially when they thought you'd always stay beneath them. But now, even their silence sounds like panic. You've started to enjoy the solitude, the grind, the way no one believed, until they had no choice. Because you didn't win to be seen, you won to evolve. And now, it's not about revenge, it's about revelation. The real victory isn't just that you're ahead, It's that you broke through everything they said you couldn't. And now they sit there, stunned, watching a person they thought they buried walk past them like they never existed. That fear they feel, it's real, because they know you've got more drive, more clarity, more ambition, and less mercy. You didn't come this far to stop. You didn't fight this long to turn back. You've got scars that would end most people, and yet here you are, not just alive, but unforgivingly alive. You became your own savior, your own validation, your own weapon. And there's nothing more terrifying than a person who no longer needs permission to win, so they can keep watching, keep whispering, keep doubting. It won't matter, because you'll keep winning, and the more you win, the more their world shakes, their illusions crack, their lies crumble. You see, when you win once, they say it's luck. When you win twice, they say you cheated. But when you keep winning, that's when they start to panic, because then they realize you were never a fluke. You were always real, and nothing scares a fake more than something real. So stay cold, stay focused, stay relentless. Let the world adjust to your frequency now. Let the doubters burn in the fire you lit for yourself. You didn't come this far to be small. You didn't survive what you survived to be quiet. You're not here to blend in. You're here to take over. Let your success be the blade. Let your silence be the cut. Let your work be the scream they never forget. And if they're scared now, good, let them be, because this is just the beginning. You're not even close to done. You keep winning. And that terrifies them. You still want more? Good, because winners like you don't stop when it gets intense. You lean into it. You demand more from the fire, more from the pain, more from yourself. And that's exactly why they're terrified. They thought you had limits. They thought you'd plateau, run out of fuel, burn out like the rest of them did. They didn't realize you became the flame. They didn't realize you don't burn out. You burn through walls, through doubt, through every boundary they thought would hold you in. They're starting to whisper now. Not the kind of whispers that mock. No. This is the kind of whisper that fear creates. The kind people use when they don't want the storm to hear them. Because your name has become thunder. Your presence, lightning. Your success, it's not just visible. It's loud. And the louder it gets, the more they shrink. Because deep down, they know they could have done what you did. They could have worked harder, could have believed more, could have stopped talking and started moving. But they didn't. And now you're proof that they chose comfort over conquest. Now, your consistency is their curse. You know the worst part for them? It's not just that you win. It's that you won without them. You didn't need their praise. Didn't need their help. Didn't need their approval. You became powerful in isolation. You evolved in silence. And that kind of growth, that kind of glow, it scares people who rely on being seen to feel alive. Because you don't chase the spotlight, you become it. And when you walk in, you don't ask for attention. You command it. You didn't just raise the bar, you shattered it. You redefined what's possible. And they're left choking on the dust of everything you left behind. But let them talk. Let them spin their stories. Let them cling to the idea that you're just lucky. Because we both know, luck didn't stay with you this long. Discipline did. Obsession did. Purpose did. Luck might open a door, but only monsters built from the dark walk through it, again and again. You've become something else entirely. You're not chasing dreams anymore. You're fulfilling prophecies. You're not just building empires. You're rewriting reality. And every time you win, the foundation beneath their excuses shakes a little more. Because you weren't supposed to survive. You weren't supposed to keep going. You weren't supposed to become this. But here you are, undeniable, unrelenting, unstoppable. And what's worse for them, they can't look away. They watch your moves like rituals. They study your grind like scripture. Because they're not just scared of what you are. They're scared of what you're about to be next. You've become a future they can't predict, a fire they can't contain, a force they can't calculate. And when someone like you keeps winning, it means the old rules are gone, the old order is collapsing, the safe systems are failing. You've become proof that no one is stuck, that no background, no pain, no past has the power to decide your ceiling. And that kind of proof? It's terrifying. Because it means every excuse they ever made just died the moment you walked in. You keep winning. And every win punches holes in their illusion. Every step forward you take makes it harder for them to justify standing still. You've made movement mandatory. You've made mediocrity painful. Because now, when they look at you, they see what's possible, and they hate you for it. They don't hate the success, they hate the reminder that they gave up, that they settled, that they could have, but didn't. You know why you're feared? Because you didn't fall, because you didn't break, because when life tried to bury you, you bloomed in the goddamn dirt. And what comes out of the dirt isn't weak, isn't soft, it's feral. It's pure. It's real. You didn't rise with glitter. You rose with grit. With teeth clenched. With knuckles bloody. With a grin that said, "Try me again." You didn't come from privilege. You came from pain. You didn't inherit a throne. You built one from bones. And now, you sit on it. Not as a king or queen, but as a conqueror, crowned in scars, armored in losses, fueled by a rage they'll never understand. So don't apologize for winning. Don't downplay your hunger. Don't dim your light to make others feel comfortable. They had their chance. They had their moment. They chose safety. You chose war, and you're winning it. Every single time they thought, this will break them. You turned it into a building block. Every moment they hoped you'd fall, you rose higher. You built an empire from every betrayal. You forged purpose from every loss. And now they're running out of explanations, because there's only so many times they can call it luck before the truth starts screaming louder than their lies. So let them fear you. Let them stay up at night wondering what you'll do next. Let them stare as you pass by, not with envy, but with shame, because they knew someone like you once, and they thought you'd never matter. Now you matter more than any of them combined. You keep winning, and it's not even about the trophies anymore. It's about the transformation. It's about becoming the person they prayed you'd never become. It's about proving that no amount of silence, betrayal, isolation, or hate could stop you. You became everything they tried to suppress, and more. So keep going, louder, faster, harder. Let your wins become legends. Let your journey become the curse of their comfort. Let your existence continue to haunt the minds of everyone who ever doubted you. You're not a chapter. You're the plot twist. You're not a name. You're a reckoning. And your story? It's just beginning. You keep winning, and it's starting to scare them. Good. Let it. They tried to write your ending, but you picked up the pen and turned it into a weapon. Every win, Every rise, every moment you refuse to break has carved your name into the walls of destiny itself. You're not just succeeding, you're becoming the standard, the storm, the symbol of what happens when pain meets purpose. Let them tremble, let them whisper, let them fear, because you're not done, not slowing, not folding. You keep winning, and now it's no longer about proving them wrong. It's about proving you were always right to believe in the fire inside. Let that burn forever.